This is Kakaaki Social. Thank you so much for joining us again today. I'm Onoshiorena Obozeghie. The UK National Crime Agency charged former president of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, that's OPEC, Diezani Alison Madueke, with bribery offenses relating to her time as Nigeria's oil minister. Now, she has been on bail since first being arrested in London in October 2015. That's 8 years ago, but she will appear again in court in the British capital on October 2. It's suspected that she abused her power while in office in Nigeria and accepted financial rewards for awarding multi-million pounds contracts. Now, she's also allegedly benefited from at least $127,000 in cash, driven cars, fleets or flights of private jets, and then luxury holidays for her family, the use of multiple London properties, and many others. This was basically the biggest story yesterday on the social media, and it trended for quite a number of times up until this morning. So how did it go down? Let's see some reactions to this. Aliyu says this news has K-leg. The former minister was rightly charged, but what about the companies giving the bribes? When are they going to be charged? Are they above the law? For Shaibu, home and abroad, this woman left a bad legacy, very pitiful. Also in reaction to that is Nosa, who says, if they had been protecting her for the last 8 years, why is she being charged? Seems like she was under the illusion that she was safe while they quietly built a case against her. Definitely a lesson for those thinking of stealing from the nation and then absconding. Oyimbra says the real looters are the ones charging the baby looters. But let's save that story for another time. Okay, when it's another time, let's see what the part 2 would be. And also, the African Union, AU, has suspended Niger from all its activities following last month's military coup and told its members to avoid any action that might legitimize the coup. And in a communique that was issued yesterday, Tuesday, the bloc noted that its decision to suspend Niger followed the failure of the military junta to hand over power to the democratically elected president, Mohamed Bazoum. Now, partly in the statement that was out yesterday, the EU said that in this regard, calls upon all member states of the AU and the international community, including bilateral and multilateral partners at large, to reject this unconstitutional change of government and to refrain from any action likely to grant legitimacy to the illegal regime in Niger. Let's see some reactions. Kenny David says, good decision from the African Union. For Jasper, union of who and who? The union that France and Britain control, abi there is another African union? Abegi. Lexim2 says, those guys don't care about ECOWAS suspension. ECOWAS better be careful so that Bazoum can come out alive. And this is very critical. Oluwas Sheson says, overnight lovers of Niger, I hope you travel there and stay to enjoy the new military regime. Daniel says, to suspend Niger cannot solve the problem, inasmuch as corrupt leaders, poverty and nepotism occupy positions in Africa, there may be a replay Niger experience. That we definitely do not want. And then now in Nigeria, basically the AU has suspended Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso in the past when military took over, which clearly did not better any coup or deter any coup plotters. But let's see what this action will be made of, what happens to this one. Back home now, reactions are still trailing the speeches made by the newly sworn-in ministers of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as Tuesday's trend had 133 million and the minister of the rebranded Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta Edu. Now, both hashtags were in reaction to her first news conference on Monday, where she disclosed the federal government's plan to lift all the 133 million people who are multidimensionally poor out of poverty.
We'll be rejigging a couple of things as we go on, and we'll bring in several innovations on board through the ministry and through the agencies that the ministry supervises. But what is most important is that we keep our focus on raising or lifting 133 million Nigerians out of poverty. And yes, we can do it. We can do it in phases, a step at a time, with determination, strong will, strong political backing from His Excellency, the President, and every member of the cabinet will achieve success.
Okay, we look forward to what that meeting will bring. Bayo, in reaction to this, says, they don't start again. First, Buhari said 100 million. Now, Tinubu's government has added 33 million to it. Now, 133 million. What happened to Vision 2020? Only time will tell. Fingers crossed. For Abuja podcaster, he said, no be by mouth, sha, make una show workings. Very key. Emmanuel says they've been wanting to do this since 2015. Let them do it now. Enough of wanting to. And then this came back in the news yesterday, 2021 news by Buhari, where he says that he inaugurated a committee to lift 100 million from poverty. And then just before he left office, the MPI, that's the Multidimensional Poverty Index report, took us to 133 million people who are poor, and technically that's what Better Ed wants to do. But maybe she's regrowing so fast, being the youngest in Nigeria, SSA to her governor Ayade when she was only in her 20s, heading all commissioners for health as a co-commissioner for health too in Nigeria, becoming the youngest woman in Africa to be the national women leader of a political party. Now she's the youngest as well in a cabinet, and then the first woman from Cross River State also to serve in her capacity. So maybe she will not want to be less than all that she's been. So yeah, fingers crossed. And then another Chibok girl, Mary Nkenki, who was rescued by security operatives, is missing her Boko Haram husband, and she's asking to return to him. Nkenki, in an interview with journalists after she was handed over to the Borno State Women Affairs Ministry officials, said that she gave birth to 2 female children for Adamu, her husband, but they both died out of malnutrition. It was learned that a terrorist husband was also rescued by the troop and has been sent to repentant insurgents camp. Okay, let's have some reaction to this. We're supposed to have a video there. Yero says experiencing the ordeal of being held captive for several years will traumatize and affect the psyche of anyone. She needs rehabilitation and help from loved ones to enable her snap out of the Stockholm syndrome. I pray she regains her well-being. Amen. Daniel says most likely she has been stigmatized by her neighbors, family, and friends. So she felt it's better to be there and be shown 45% of love than to be here and be shown 5% of love. How have they been treating her since she got back? Have they been laughing and ridiculing her? Obedient Observer says, now serious matter be this so. You get some situations where feed dey confusing and hard to understand. If you be saying Mary don't develop some kind of attachment or Stockholm syndrome to her captor, but it no mean say we go laugh or cry. Instead, make we try understand her perspective and the psychological trauma where she don't pass through. It good make the authorities and professionals intervene to make sure say she dey safe and make she get the support where she need. For Seri, it says, well, Boko Haram has sponsors, so she must have been feeding well before she was rescued. I don't know if she can go back to school. Hunger, too, is in school, and I doubt she will get a meaningful job when she leaves school. I mean, this was so key, and I'd like to come to you at this point. The last reaction was saying that it was concerned for her, like if she remains here, or she's told to remain here at the end of the day. What's her chances of excelling or making it? She's already 27 years.
I think for me,